Gotta learn something, earn something. Stroll through the hood, cop a bag of weed and burn something. Turn something, churn something. Make sure by the end of the day you got more than nothing. Gotta read for this, bleed for this. I'm about to school you on how to keep it G for this. Got a slang for this, a bang for this. Sometimes take a chance, stand out in the rain for this. Learn. What up? It's the original Crypt Keeper that lives upon bloodshed. You know, just kicking more Garden Gang, Galaxy Gang communications through the waves. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't know what I'm saying, you got a rewind button there. You should utilize the rewind button and join the conversation. Today's segment of University of Hardknocks, I want to start by dropping the tip for fellow Americans, especially people that are interested in world trade. I want to say that as buyers and sellers and brokers in the world trade industry, one of the first trades is information and knowledge, and excuse me. Now I think with that, you know, the education and knowledge is one of the first steps of trading. And we have a serious language barrier going on right now. We got a lot of people from other countries that come to America, and when they come to America, they actually learn about a nation and they learn about language so that they can deal with us. And as Americans, it will be more in our favor to not necessarily migrate. We don't have to migrate because we have so much technology today. But it's a very good idea for us to invest our time into learning the language and learning about some of these countries and nations where people are coming from, where these immigrants and migrators are coming from, and quote unquote aliens. Because if we know what the situation that they're coming from, we may better know how to assist them. You know, it may be a better deal for us to assist them if we know where they come from, what they've been dealing with, and how educated they are. We better know how to place them into our economy and society for development. You know, the situation, you could be dealing with the alien, but it doesn't have to. Hold on, let me turn this light right. All right, boom. You know, you could be dealing. We can deal with you know, the immigrants and migrants and call them aliens, but we don't have to make them feel so alienated. And with the more knowledge and responsibility that we carry, it can actually seem less of an alien situation from our perspective as well. So be careful with the alien situations, all right? Hektic, Hellion. And you know, that's just one of the rules of engagement and order of operations that I've learned to add to my checklist. You know, life can be a research and study, or life can be, you know, some people feel as though Plymouth Rock landed on us, and some people feel like we landed on Plymouth Rock. But whatever you do, let's try to make sure that we're all not stuck between a rock and a hard place. And you know, having that rules of engagement and order of operations on the checklist really helps with alleviating that pressure. Alright, on the first segment I mentioned the brain traffic, and with the brain traffic I mentioned as a consumer, one of the first ways we consume is air. First is air, touch, drinking, and eating. And it's good to have a clean air. You know, I promote planting trees and paying attention to how we deal with the earth and how we take care of the earth, because it has a major effect on our air and water. And those are our first steps of consumption, and consuming is actually a part of communications. And we have to pay attention to what we're consuming from this earth. You know, we inhale air and we let out the carbons, and we get more air in return. That's a communications process that's happening there. The photosynthesis coming from the sun assists with that chamber in the system. Aside from the language barrier situation, I want to talk about the understanding of the Garden Gang, Galaxy Gang theory, and I want to talk about how to actually move around in the theory and understand it, and not just have it as something that's thrown in your face. A clean spirit. A clean spirit is similar to clean air. when someone's around many bad spirits, the air doesn't feel as clean, or the emotional air doesn't feel as clean, and there are ways to clean that. There are ways to figure that out, the situation that's going on, and communicate with the situation to where that pressure is alleviated. One of those ways is praying, exercising, pretty much the entire you don't grind, you don't shine challenge. A lot of those topics are part of cleaning your air and having a clean air in your community. After you have an emotional air that's clean in your community, then it's a very good idea to start planting trees so that you can have a physical clean air and communicate with your peers, your other nations, your neighbors, your family, cousins that are traveling all over the place. Learn something, because anyone that gets to you, they learn something to get to you. So the least you can do to have respect for everything that they've done is learn something in return. Someone asked me a real vague question. They asked me, well, why do I do what I do, and why do I say what I say? And it was a very vague question when they presented it to me, and it could have felt offensive, but I remember a teacher telling me that the only stupid question is an unasked question, because it never is not really a question. It's kind of like an oxymoron. It's just a thought. A question like that deserves an answer, and my answer is because from my experience and from my knowledge, I know that knowledge is power, and power comes with responsibility. And on the path of humanity, it is far more fun, it is far more appealing, it is far more entertaining, and far more loving when the path of humanity has signs, warning signs, labels, and a fellowship of humanities and a fellowship of humanitarian hustlers that are willing to faithfully hustle. That's why I do what I do, and that's why I say what I say. And I really appreciate that question. And and some people would run from a question like that, but I think it's a bad idea to run from certain questions. It's a good idea to embrace that question and house that question, let that question know there's an answer. Aside from that, I have to say that as an American, a young hustler, America needs to plant more trees and gardens, especially in Florida. Florida means garden. That's what the word means, garden. And Florida farmers, we could turn it up a notch, and we could be doing more. Now, when planting trees and gardens need to be planted in the correct arrangement, so that they can really assist in the cleaning up of our economy. So sometimes when you plant trees and that's a certain trees, you get an effect an unwanted effect. You get an unwanted production. So there's rules and regulations to planting trees and gardens, and as humanitarians and as farmers and as economists, we need to figure out that science, and we need to exercise that science until we actually see the clean effect on our economy. This is Hektic Hellion, the Beachside Bachelor, just kicking some more Garden Gang, Galaxy Gang communications through the waves. Peace.
Gotta learn something, earn something. Stroll through the hood, cop a bag of weed and burn something. Turn something, churn something. Make sure by the end of the day you got more than nothing. Gotta read for this, bleed for this. I'm about to school you on how to keep it G for this. Got a slang for this, a bang for this. Sometimes take a chance, stand out in the rain for this. Learn something, earn something. Stroll through the hood, cop a bag of weed and burn something. Gotta turn something, churn something. Make sure by the end of the day you got more than nothing. Gotta read for this, bleed for this. I'm about to school you on how to keep it G for this.